An MMTLP investor got in touch with an ex-SEC lawyer about the fraud. So what did he say? Keep watching as we go through recent news as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for regular stock market updates. A person named Ham tweeted that an ex-SEC lawyer said that their only way out is to settle things, which means that holders are at an advantage and short sellers have been trapped from all sides. A lot of people have not received their Nextbridge shares, and that's another issue, but community leaders are working to fix this. Also, Nextbridge has announced a merger with Hudspeth Operating LLC, and this will increase Nextbridge's working interest by 22% for its Orogrand properties. An estimate has also projected that Nextbridge shares, once settled by MMTLP short sellers, will be valued at $660. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-day chart for MMAT, and as always, we'll first analyze the 1-day chart, then the 1-hour chart, and then to look at the 5-minute chart. Now, right off the bat, we'll first talk about MMTLP, of course. Now, a little correction. I did make a mistake in the first part of this video. NBH shares will not be valued at $667. Instead, the people holding NBH shares, which of course were the MMTLP investors, will be compensated with $667 billion for any of their shares that of course were affected by the trading halt and the Finra fraud, right? So that is the corrected version, and at the same time it will be done in a settlement which will include 0.25% for NBH, which is of course Nextbridge Hydrocarbons, and 99.75% of the settled money will go to MMTLP holders. Now, the 0.25% is estimated to be $863 million, which will of course help NBH to develop any future projects in case they want to go further with the Orogrand project, right? That will help them with oil and all of that stuff, right? So this of course was provided by Paul T on Twitter, and this is his proposal on how this entire situation can be solved. So I will link to that in the pinned comment. And of course, we do have something more, right? So someone actually went far enough to actually draft this little thing that I have opened on my phone right here, which is MMTLP in one page. It explains the entire situation in one page, and I will link to that in the description, and not the description, but in the pinned comment as well, so you can share it with your friends and let them know what the entire situation is with just a single post. I'll quickly give you a summary of what it says. First up, it introduces you with what exactly is MMTLP. It's a preferred share stock dividend that was given out to holders of stock TRCH in 2021, and of course how they ended up being traded in an unauthorized way on the OTC market, and of course the fact that there are about 64,000 shareholders of MMTLP. Then why is everyone so vocal about MMTLP? They tell you why everyone is talking about MMTLP and why it's such a big issue at the moment. Then they go over what was done that was illegal and by whom, right? And this is where they talk about how Finra and market makers, why did I say market mayors? How market makers and Finra have abused their power to hold, or rather halt, the trading of MMTLP after the stock fell down badly from a price of about $10 to a price of $2.9. And of course, they did help a lot of short traders, the big companies, to cover up their positions. Some of the companies that were shorting were, Citadel and Vanguard, BlackRock, all of these companies. These are some of the biggest names in the financial industry. So again, that's, well, pretty clear, right? Then they talk about the solution, which they're saying that the first problem to be solved is how to compensate the 64,000 shareholders, and that of course will be by first providing them their dividends. That was of course Nextbridge Hydrocarbons shares, and then on the other side offering them compensation, for those of the people who wish to kind of exit their position altogether and not receive NBH dividends. You can, or rather Finra can compensate them by, of course, offering financial compensation for the amount that they lost, right? And whatever happens to that will, of course, we'll get more information about that. But secondly, they say that this problem is not exclusive to MMTLP. It is, of course, Now, this is of course true. It is happening to a lot of other companies as well. We recently saw this happen with Cosmos, and it has happened with a lot other companies as well, like AMC, GME, BBBY. And you can read all of that ahead in the link that I've pinned in the pinned comment, of course. The link that I've dropped in the pinned comment. And it has a further study on fairmarketsnow.org. So I will link to that in the pinned comment as well. Now we'll talk about MMAT, which is of course the chart that I've opened up over here. First up, we can see that we're up 0.75% on the pre-market, but does that matter? Because we fell by almost 10% in yesterday's session. I already told you guys on 26th December that we're gonna get a fall, a pretty bad one as well, since we got a pin bar candle on the lower side, and well, we did get a bad fall. So well, that's good on me. But then again, it does not mean that it's a good thing. It's of course not a good thing for people who are holding the shares. But what does this gap up mean, right? We're up by 0.75% on the pre-market. This can go two ways, right? First up, where is the support? Now, the first support above, or rather resistance above 98.26 would be 99 cents, and we're right on the brink of 99 cents, right? So this might actually turn out to be a good thing, because if we were relatively, I would say, at a lower point. Now what happens is that if you have a resistance at, let's say, 1.05 and you get a gap up at 1.04, right? That's pretty possible. It's pretty possible that you'll get a bear trend that day, because you'll get resisted in your first few hours, or rather first few minutes of volume itself. And in this case, if we can kind of surpass the 9900 resistance level, the 99-cent resistance level, we might be able to get a decent performance today and avoid any further bearish movement, which of course I personally would wish for, because the stock has suffered enough. Now, as for the price prediction, I personally, in the long term, think that this is a worthy play of hitting $10. So I will always maintain a, well, not always, but for now, I'm maintaining my $10 price target in case that everything goes well. We'll be looking forward to the 7th January event that's going to happen in Los Angeles or Las Vegas, I guess, one of those states. And basically, Meta Materials will be displaying some high-end technology over there, and that, of course, will bring some good news in the stock's price as well. That will bring some bullish movements, but at the same time, if we want to see where it is exactly headed, let's quickly jump on into the 1-hour chart. And now that we're in the 1-hour chart, we can see that right over here, we did build a further bearish trend, and we completely aligned with the previous bearish trend. We can see that over here on 23rd, we got a crazy bearish trend, and then we did start the day off with an inside candle, followed by a negative pin bar. It is a green candle, but it still has a wick on the upside and no wicks on the lower side, which makes it a negative pin bar. And it was followed by a further red candle. So here, it was a good opportunity for a short-term trade, right? For, of course, a swing, or not a swing, but an intraday trade if you wanted to get into the put options. So that was a good trade right there. But anyways, if we talk about the trend again, we can see that we ended the day off over here at, of course, 98.5 pretty much, right? We got supported, but then in the aftermarket, we went down to 98.26. Currently, pre-market is not exactly moving. Let's quickly see what's going on over there. Pre-market is not exactly moving, right? We don't have any wicks, anything like that, but it's still a good sign that we did get a gap up from this close and not, of course, we did get a big gap up from the the aftermarket close, but in my opinion, this over here might be a good sign, and it might turn out to be a bad sign as well. So of course, you can never guarantee anything in the stock market. And with that, we'll have to jump on into the 5-minute chart so I can see what exactly is going on in the pre-market. And now that we're in the 5-minute chart, we can see that again, we do not have enough volume on the pre-market to even get any indications as to where this is headed, right? We have only like 17 minutes left until the market opens. And, it's not exactly a good sign, I would say, right? Declining volumes are, of course, not a good sign. But at the same time, I do believe that the attention has swiftly changed, and now the focus is all towards MMTLP and NBH, and MMAT is getting kinda, I would say, overlooked or what do you call it? Ignored. I wouldn't, exactly use the word ignored, but I guess that there's just not enough attention to MMAT at the moment, or rather, just people are so occupied with MMTLP and NBH that they're not exactly paying attention to MMAT. So that is, well, I won't say it's a sad situation. It's just, you know, it happens. It's not that big of a deal. It will hopefully recover in the days to come once, of course, the situation for MMTLP and NBH improves and once the settlement is done. But of course, for the short term, I do remain bearish because I do see that we're not far from the 80-cent support that I already marked for you guys, right? I told you guys that we will touch 80 cents before we see upward movement, and we're on our way over there. But then again, I could be wrong, so most definitely remember that this is not financial advice and you should always do your own research before you trade. If, however, you enjoyed my analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. You can subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.